Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Arctic, and in today's video we are going to be going over a complete build guide for Nahida, aka the Dendro Archon. We're basically going to cover the best artifact choice you can use for her and also the best weapon choice you can use for her. Now if you haven't seen my video on Nahida's stats, skills, and Ascension, make sure you guys check that out. It is going to be in the card linked up above. And also, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'm trying to get to 11,000 subscribers, so it would really help out a lot if you do. And give it a like down in the comment section below, just so I get a little bit more traction. But anyway, let's get into the video. So there's a few things that we have to keep in mind when we're building Nahida. One of those being that her Ascension passive basically takes 20% of the highest character's EM and turns that into elemental mastery points for the whole team that are inside of her burst, and that is up to 200 points. So what that means is that you can either go for a high amount of elemental mastery on Nahida herself, or you can go for like a high amount of elemental mastery on, let's say, like a Sino, for example, and use him as your highest elemental mastery character in the team. But where this comes important for if we're building her is if you want to use Nahida as that main EM type of character, yeah, we're going to want to stack a lot of EM onto Nahida. Another thing that you have to keep in mind also is that her second Ascension basically turns her elemental mastery points into crit rate and crit damage points. So that's further strengthening the reason to go a lot more elemental mastery on Nahida. It just really kind of rounds out her build. And honestly, if you are going for an attack build Nahida, I think that going with like a attack timepiece could actually be viable, because you're going to be getting a lot of crit rate and crit damage from just running like elemental mastery passively with like an elemental mastery hat and like her passives, that kind of things. But you're going to be lacking on the attack front, so I think that is going to round out her build a little bit more there. And then for the elemental mastery full stacking build, I think it's going to be pretty good, just considering that you are getting a lot of crit rate and crit damage off of her elemental mastery. Plus, if you are using her to do all these reactions and basically supply your team with elemental mastery, I think it could be pretty good. In terms of the artifact choice that I think is going to be the best for Nahida, it's probably going to end up being the Gilded Dream set for the elemental mastery build, and then the Deepwood Memories set for the just general Nahida DPS build. The reason why I wouldn't necessarily use the Deepwood Memories set for Nahida as a support is because this basically is going to decrease like Dendro resistance with its 4-piece. It does have a nice 2-piece right here, so if you wanted to combine like a 2-piece of this and 2-piece of Gilded Dreams, that's perfectly logical to do. This 30% Dendro resistance decrease is only really going to be used if you are using Nahida as a sub DPS. It's good, but I think going with a more full elemental mastery build is going to be better. But personally, I just think that the Gilded Dream set in the 4 pieces is going to be a lot nicer, just because you are basically going to be getting this extra elemental mastery for each character that is of a different elemental type than Nahida herself. So this is going to further strengthen your ability to like buff your teammates with Nahida's buff passive, you know. So definitely think this is going to be a great option if you are going for a full elemental mastery Nahida. Now getting into the weapons, obviously her best in slot weapon is going to be her rate up 5-star weapon, and it is called 1,000 Floating Dreams. It's basically like a little teapot. I can't really show it here. It is going to scale with elemental mastery, and I think that goes up to like 250 something points of elemental mastery, so it's quite a substantial amount. And then the passive on it, party members other than the equipping character will provide the equipping character with buffs based on whether their elemental type is the same as the latter or not. If their elemental types are the same, it increases their elemental mastery by 32 points. At R5, that's going to be like 64 points. And if not, it increases their equipping character's damage bonus from their elemental type by 10% or 26% at R5. Effects can stack 3 times, and additionally all nearby party members other than the equipping character will have their elemental mastery increased by 40 points or 48 points at R5. And this multiple such effects from multiple such weapons can stack. So what that basically means is that you potentially could have a full team of Catalyst users, each having one of these, and basically increasing elemental mastery for everyone. Now for the weapons that I think are going to be great on Nahida, for the free-to-play players out there, I think the Mappa Mare is going to be an extremely good option. It comes with a good amount of base attack right here, so yeah, you are going to be able to utilize a little bit of Nahida's attack on this as well. You get like EM up to 110 points, which is a good amount. And then the passive on this is going to be great because when you trigger elemental reactions, you gain elemental damage bonuses for 10 seconds, and you can get 2 stacks of this. So with like 8% right here, yeah, you're going to be getting a 16% extra elemental damage bonus for Nahida. And then right here at 16%, I think that totals out to like 32% extra elemental damage, so definitely quite good. A great 4-star option is going to be the Widsith, because this one's passive does heavily rely on elemental mastery and just stats that I think are going to be extremely good on Nahida in general. Plus, this also comes with a crit damage Ascension stat, so you are going to be getting like 55% crit damage off of this, which is a substantial amount. And then at R5, you can actually get 480 points of elemental mastery just from having this weapon. So basically, if you have Nahida and other characters and whatnot, you can basically top out Nahida's elemental mastery. Like, let's just say you have like around 500 elemental mastery on your Nahida. That's all you're really gonna need with this weapon, because if you get 480 and go above that 1000 points of elemental mastery threshold, you're gonna be able to utilize that full buff from her Ascension passive, and I think that actually further increases your that basically increases all the rest of your character's elemental mastery by 200 points, which is a substantial amount, especially if you're running like Nahida and like a Kazuha or something in like a same team. You can boost out your Kazuha's stuff quite a bit for your main support or for your, like your main character's damage. Fulfillment is also a more free-to-play friendly weapon, I guess you could say. And basically what this does is it comes with energy recharge as a substat, so you basically can take care of all of her energy needs, even though she basically is just going to have a shorter like burst downtime. I don't think she has any downtime whatsoever, especially if you are running like a multiple Hydro characters. That'll really boost out like your bursts uptime, I guess you could say, because it extends the duration. Passive on this, you obtain the Wax and Wane effect when an elemental reaction is triggered, gaining 24% of elemental mastery and losing 5% of attack for every 3 seconds. A stack of Wax and Wane can be gained, maximum 5 stacks for every 6 seconds that go by without an elemental reaction being triggered. You lose like a stack. And basically this just gives you like some extra elemental mastery, which is great on Nahida. This is definitely a pretty good free-to-play weapon. You just get a lot of good stats off of this. The 5-star Catalyst, Skyward Atlas is going to be pretty nice because it does come with a good amount of attack right here, very high base attack, so if you are running more of a main DPS attack focused Nahida build, I think this is definitely going to shine. Basically keeping a balance between elemental mastery and also attack, because really if you have even a little bit of elemental mastery, you are going to be able to get a pretty good amount of like crit rate and crit damage off of that. But then with this attack, you're going to be able to round out her build if you are wanting to go for more so damage with her elemental skill, I think. But then the passive on this increases your elemental damage bonus by 12%, which is a substantial amount. And then also your normal attacks have a 50% chance to trigger this Sky Seeker, basically, which is going to deal some extra damage. So very good if you are using her auto attacks a bit more, like applying a whole bunch of Dendro or using her as your Dendro reactor, I guess. The Lost Parade Sacred Winds is going to come with crit rates, and it's going to give you attack up to 608 points right here. You get bonus crit rate up to 33%, which is a good amount just considering that Nahida really kind of performs as a sub DPS more so. So making sure her elemental skill is like critting and stuff is going to be pretty good for her sub DPS. But then the passive on this increases your movement speed by 10%. When you're in battle, you gain this 8% elemental damage bonus up to 4 stacks, so you get like a good amount of elemental damage bonus off of this, plus crit rate. It's a very solid weapon to run on here. Kagura's Verity I think is going to be a great weapon to run on her as well, just with how her elemental skill works and using her elemental skill and how this thing's cooldowns work. I'm not necessarily sure exactly how fast Nahida's elemental skill refreshes, but I would assume it would be relatively fast considering that it's like a pretty integral part of her kit, so I think it's going to at least be around once every like 12-ish seconds potentially. Weapon gives you a 608 base attack, you get bonus of 66% crit damage, which is a lot. Passive on this, you gain the Kagura's Dance effect when using an elemental skill, and it causes the elemental skill damage of the character wielding this weapon to increase by 12%, so that's where all of her damage really comes from mostly. And that lasts for 16 seconds, so it is a good bonus right there. and then you get a maximum of 3 stacks of this. The character will gain 12% elemental damage bonus when they possess 3 stacks, and I don't really remember if this actually refreshes the stacks each time until you get up to 3. I'm not sure if it does really, but still, this is a pretty okay weapon to use on Nahida, so definitely don't sleep on it. But yeah, really, this is going to be it for my build guide. I did make this a little bit early, so I might actually have to go back and make another one of these and fix some things that I either got wrong or that I want to go more in depth with. I might just make separate videos, honestly. We might actually make a more specific like weapons and artifacts guide moving forward, but I just want to get something like this out there just so it's a little bit more early than it normally would be. But yeah, anyway, I'm really excited for Nahida. I think she's going to be a great character. I definitely look forward to seeing more of her like base stats and how her like skills actually work more so when the beta actually drops, which it's probably already dropped by now. So yeah, just cross-reference everything with the beta and you should be fine. But anyway, it's been me, Arctic. I will see you all in the next one. Farewell.